Welcome back to another episode of Wicked Darkness. Please make sure to follow us so you can keep listening to our episodes. If you want to see more of us, give us a like on Facebook and Instagram, as well as our YouTube channel, Soup It 2009. Welcome back to another episode of Wicked Darkness with Soup It. With me, I got Brian and I got Rich.
Howdy ho.
Good evening.
And I'm Kathy, of course, the host. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Thank God tomorrow is Friday.
Yes.
That's all I can say about that.
Yeah, it's been hectic, so.
It has been. But today was a beautiful day. A little bit that I was out in it. And tomorrow's supposed to get cold.
Yes.
I love Wisconsin weather. 70 degrees one day, 30 degrees the next day. It is what it is.
That's all right. I'm going to Miami Saturday.
And
I'll be in Vegas, so.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
It's going to be cold in Vegas, though.
It's supposed to be raining, too, I saw.
I saw 50s and 60s, so.
Yeah. Well, at least it's not the blizzard.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Or the hurricane.
Or the hurricane.
We just missed that one.
Yeah. What
hey,
am
Brian, how's your football team doing?
6-3.
Me too.
We don't want to talk about my team. We'll just
What are they, 3 and 6?
Maybe.
Soon to go 3 and 9. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
You know.
It's nice when nobody expects anything out of you.
Yep. True.
Yeah, well, I think somebody on our team is a little too big for his britches now, and
he's been.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
it's really starting to show this year versus previous years, since he doesn't want to take responsibility for his actions of the whole thing.
He's blaming everybody but himself.
Yeah, and I know this isn't a sports show, and I know people are, like,
sorry.
well, we can go on and on.
Doesn't matter. You asked how we're doing, and that's how we're doing.
He could be the Beast of Green Bay.
Yeah,
Road.
yes.
Uh-huh.
So, well, we are talking about the Beast.
Back to the subject.
Beast of Bray Road this time. And it's funny because I just went past Bray Road tonight, like 2 hours ago.
Did you see it?
I was looking, we pulled off on the side of the road there, and I'm like sitting in the field. I'm like, come on. I've got cows to my left here, and I just went past a flock of sheep. And by the way, the black one was sitting by itself, sitting down, while all the other ones were standing. He was truly the black sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Black sheep of the herd. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm like, okay, we have like prey on both sides. So here's your opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And it was dusk. Well, it was past dusk, actually. Sun had already gone down. There's clouds in the back behind us. So, you could see the sun still up behind the clouds. So it was like that picturesque kind of view, but still where you could see across the fields clearly. So nothing, though. I was disappointed.
When I first heard about this, I was really shocked how close this was. I had no idea this was this close.
Yeah, it's like 40 minutes away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you drive even faster than 30 minutes.
Down 11? Is it down 11?
11.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to think where I was at that point. So yeah, we were on 11. Just east of Highway 12 area.
Okay.
If anybody knows this area, it's close. It actually comes up behind Lakeland Hospital and Elkhorn area. So not in downtown Elkhorn, not that it's very large of a town anyway, but very cute. If anyone who wants to visit, it's super cute. Though the Beast is supposed to be not in that area particularly. He goes all over, but most of the sightings have been seen on Bray Road, and that's what it's actually called, Bray Road. You will see the Beast. I have to correct myself. You will see the Beast on Bray Road at any point in the day.
In someone's front yard?
in someone's front yard.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I heard about that.
Yeah, so what they did was they carved out of a tree the beast. So, I mean, and it's right there on the corner. So if anybody ever wants to see what it looks like, just go to this house. I've actually taken pictures of it in the past, so I'll probably post that just as a reminder what it looks like. But he's there all the time, just not in bill form, unless on a full moon he changes from wood to, I don't know, real.
I think that's a Scooby-Doo episode.
Just like Pinocchio.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo, Pinocchio, yeah. So, but, you know, it's cute. The other thing I forgot to check, because I saw a thing one time saying that Elkhorn, by their little town hall area, they have like a statue, kind of like they do for Mothman in West Virginia.
Is it near like the museum or something? Don't they have like a museum or something out that way that has something to do with it?
I think so. I don't know. I was driving through it so quickly and not paying attention to everything. But I'll have to go back out there again and check it out a little bit more. But you know, people have been talking, and this is another one that hasn't been around for very long, which is kind of crazy too. Because we talked about this with one of the other cryptids that one's not around very long either. This one actually, I think when I saw it, it was like the 80s and 90s that they started complaining about seeing things.
I think what I read that the first alleged sighting was back in 1936.
Yes.
The first sighting of it, but it became more of a regular thing, like you said, in the 80s. It was more people having personal experiences with the beast.
The beast, yeah.
You know.
So, and they even said, I saw a thing saying that even the first settlers of Wisconsin described a canine creature who would attack and then vanish without a trace. So we're talking back in the 1800s, you know, because our state got established in 1849. So that's going back a ways, but nothing, you know, not anything that's been sticking out. But in the 80s and 90s, mid to late 80s, that's when more and more people were seeing it. And I think that was a time period that it was going on one of the famous shows back in the day, which, you know, some people can hear the man's voice when you say Unsolved Mysteries. When you think of Unsolved Mysteries, you hear that voice, that distinguished voice. And that's where I first saw about the beast, was on Unsolved Mysteries. But it, you know, you were saying, Rich, that you saw it from the 30s.
I said the first sightings were allegedly in the 30s. 1936 was when it's first reported. But as it grows, and in the 80s, a lot of the eyewitnesses and a lot of the experiences have been motor vehicle related, you know. So it makes you wonder, was there a lot of stuff going on before that? But as you became more and more, you know, people driving their cars, and you get more people, you get one person interested, and maybe in the 80s, maybe there was a little bit more of the news about it. Maybe got around at least. I mean, obviously the internet wasn't around yet, but you know, I think it begs the question then, in this day and age, you would think that it would be blown up even more than that, because now you do have the internet. Now you know people are probably looking for it.
The curiosity
level is there. So you would think that in this day and age, you would have a lot more reported sightings with as much as they claim to have. You know, I sat in that seminar, that little speaker thing up at the Paracon.
Yeah, what did you think of that?
Word of advice to anybody going there: it's very dangerous. I could have sat in those things for 8 hours and been in a trance, and I had no idea what time it was. So it's a good thing you came and told me you guys were leaving. Otherwise, I would have just sat there listening.
Well, yeah, because you and I watched the TikTok girl.
I watched her about the
hotel
in Kiwani.
Yeah.
That was interesting. I'd love to go there and check that out, but that's for a different episode.
Right.
But I sat in the one for the Beast of Bray Road, and he had some. I mean, the stories. I mean, he had some actual ghost hunters or investigators. I guess they're not ghost hunters because they're paranormal investigators that go around doing everything. And this obviously was based on the cryptids and looking for the Beast of Bray Road. They actually had stuff documented, hours and hours and hours and hours of video, pictures. I think he had a bunch of trail cam pictures. I mean, to the point where he was trying to bait it, like putting things out to bait it. He had some interesting pictures, but I mean, you know, me being the skeptic I am, I question him, but I wasn't there, so it's hard to say. But all these other people are, you know, he has pictures. I'm just going to give some examples. Pictures of a field, and then all of a sudden you see something blocking out part of the camera, and it looks like hair and stuff, and then it's gone. And his explanation of it is, well, there's no way that camera wouldn't have caught something coming in front of it, because there's a field around there and there's no way to get to that area without coming in front of it. Okay. Well, I haven't been there, so as an outsider, I got to go. Do I take his word for it, or I would need to go there and try to get to that camera? And if I can make it to that camera, then it's possible. So then I got to say it could be anything, because who knows what it was. And he was making comparisons to UFOs. I'm telling you, this was a very interesting seminar.
Well, because you and Scott sat in on this one.
Yeah, I mean, the way it started and the way the turns, twists and turns that it took.
Yeah.
Very interesting to me, because they had it's kind of, you know, they have pictures of lights in the sky and different anomalies in the sky whenever this creature appears. And they have pictures of it. Like when they show the picture of that thing blocking the camera, then they zoom in on the sky. Well, look, here's 3 different things in a row. Then the next couple, you know, because they were quick photos. Yeah. Now it's over here. Now it's here. Boom. Now it's gone. And it's like.
Well, and the trail cam, I mean, we don't have trail cams. I don't have trail cams, but
this was a regular camera. This was a regular video camera. The trail cam ones that he had were interesting. I mean, you could see where he had, I think it was a chicken or something he had put out for bait, and you see like a shadow come over it and a shadow disappear, but you don't see something actually physically step in front of it. You know, you're not catching the Beast of Bray Road standing there smiling in the camera. You're just getting
of course not.
bits and pieces of stuff. So, I mean, the pictures he did have of things that were nothing was up close. But I think Scott was in there when he was showing some of the pictures he had, something that was standing on 2 legs. I don't know what it was. It didn't look like anything I've ever seen. It was an interesting picture, but, you know, I don't know.
Were all the pictures in the same location?
The same guy's property. This guy, I wish I knew could remember what his name is. The guy, it's the Bray Road guy that.
I wonder if that's the one that Rob knows.
I think it is. He's the guy that owns the property.
Yeah.
And he has like pictures and plaster casts of footprints that he sent out to the DNR, and they can't tell him what it is. They can't give him a definite answer. And they're footprints in the snow where they just appear and disappear. He says, you know, where they go somewhere and then they're gone. Or how did it get there?
Now, did he have any like evidence as far as like the fur of the animal or creature that you remember?
I want to say
tested?
I don't recall.
I want to say he did.
Well, you might as well come over.
I want to say he did, if I remember right, but everything that he did and sent off to people, I think he even sent it off like to University of Wisconsin and Madison. He sent it out to departments like that for them to do testing, and everything always comes back as inconclusive.
Interesting.
Yes.
So what people if you don't know about the Beast of Bray Road, I mean, there's many different versions out there. Wisconsin, we have the Beast of Bray Road, but there's also Dogman that's out in different parts of the country as well. Something similar. The beast itself, the cryptid, is supposed to be bipedal, resembles a bear or a wolf, very large. We're talking like 7 feet tall. He's supposed to be intelligent, or she, brownish gray color hair, and it's called the Beast of Bray Road because it's seen mostly on Bray Road in Elkhorn, which is in Walworth County, just before you get to Racine County, which is where we are. The sightings that most of the people have talked about is between 1989 and 1991. So very short time period. And so I remember watching the Unsolved Mysteries episode where they talked to the sheriff at the time, and he said that he carries silver bullets. And I was looking through things, and they said that a lot of the law enforcement, and we're talking like 2006, local law enforcement personnel reportedly carry silver bullets just in case. Which I find that kind of strange. If this is not...
How'd they get that in the budget?
It's a good question.
We need to get silver bullets.
Yeah.
Can you please tell us why? Well, in case we come across this half wolf, half human creature that runs around Bray Road. Okay, hold on. Let me get back to you on that.
Exactly. Can you imagine that? And the trustee goes,
What?
Yeah, sure. I'm right on top of that for you. Let's not worry about the bulletproof vests or anything or whatever, but let's get those silver bullets for you.
That's
funny.
funny.
It was just a faster car.
Yeah. So the other thing is the county humane officer at the time that this article that I had found was written, he had a manila envelope or a manila folder labeled werewolf in his office with 6 or 7 note cards detailing different sightings that were reported. And he had to go and look it up and see, and there was things that he, out of these ones here, those 6 or 7, he could not figure out what it was. He knows most of the creatures that are out there. And so for him, it was like, I can't explain this. I don't know what this is. So it's kind of weird because the other thing is, so we talked about that it's a wolf-like creature that runs on 2 legs and it's been seen around on Bray Road area. It steals chickens, eats raw the roadkill, and scares the daylights out of locals who sometimes literally run right into it. So these are people that live in the town, live in the county, and they said that they have seen this creature, this cryptid.
No, on the roadkill part of it, this gentleman did say that he goes around, he used to go around, he doesn't anymore, but he would go around and get the deer carcasses off the road and haul them into the property and use them. And he said he has documentation or photos of it being there and then being gone the next second.
So, okay, but
and he said it's physically impossible for somebody to move that fast, or for someone to actually, a human being is not going to go out there and pick up a dead deer and just lift it up over his shoulder and walk away with it. It's not going to happen. And he said he's had hundreds of them just disappear off his property when he puts them out.
But we have, in our area, we have lots of coyotes. I have them in my area. We have we literally have this little tiny farm behind our house area in our subdivision, and we can hear the coyotes all the time. So when I let my dogs out,
they would eat it there. They wouldn't pick it up and carry it away.
Right.
Or they would. I don't know that coyote's going to drag a deer somewhere. They're probably a pack. They'd probably eat it, and you'd still have the carcass there. But I'm not trying to defend it. I'm just.
No, I know. But
like I said, there's a lot of things he said that make me question, but there was a lot of things that I saw and was said that leave me still questioning and wanting, very interested to I'd like to go out there. That's what I'd like to do, but he says he charges now.
Oh, of course he does. Of course he does.
More popular it is.
Yeah, well, you figure he's got all these people stopping at his house and probably destroying his property.
He said he had neighbors there when he moved in, however long ago or whatever, that tell him or had told him that where he lives that it's a paranormal hotspot. They likened it to the Skinwalker Ranch of the Midwest, is what they call it.
Wow,
interesting.
That's the type they had. He said they had that kind of activity there. It's not just this Beast of Bray Road, like I said, alien activity, animal mutilations, stuff like that's the stuff they're claiming. And some of the pictures were interesting, but I still can't say they're. I could sit there and I can make up what they could be.
Sure.
There was nothing I saw except for one picture that I had no idea what it was, but I don't know. I mean, the other stuff, this black dot way over here. Well, this tree's this big. Well, look how tall that thing is. There's no way that's a person or a bear because it's almost as tall as the tree. Well, here's another picture of me way over there, and you can see me. You can see how small I am. Now look at compared to the other thing, how big that thing had to be. Well, okay, but it's so far away. It's a black dot from what I can see. You know?
And you have to be at the same spot, same exact spot. There's a lot that is factored into the whole thing.
It just brings you back to the thing. I would have to experience it to actually say one way or the other.
Well, I can tell you from experience. I mean, I've driven out there at all sorts of times in the day when I used to work in EMS, and Scott drives there all the time, and him and his partner were just talking about it not too long ago. And they're like, yeah, Kathy's going to be doing this podcast, and she, talks about cryptids, and they talk about Bray Road, and they're both like, yeah, we never see it ever. So, and they go there all types of, hours. Daytime, nighttime, dusk, dawn, driving through. Never see anything. So
definitely a lot of the pictures I saw were daytime. So
and that's another thing. They kind of compare the beast to a Midwest Bigfoot.
Yeah.
There was a picture that I saw. I think I still have it. I'll have to post it on the website or on the Facebook page, but it was a picture that a gentleman caught. He says he caught this when he was out there in the Elkhorn area. His name was Danny Morgan, and he said it was the craziest thing he'd ever seen. He had actually talked to TMJ4, which is a local Milwaukee news channel. And he had said that it was taken on Town Line Road in Elkhorn. He saw a wolf come across a cornfield, and out there's a lot of cornfields. And it got up on its hind legs. And there's a picture of it. It's really, really hard. I don't think you guys are going to be able to see it. Oh, I can't bring it up. Cameras, I tell you, they don't want to work. But I'll post it. But this thing looks like a wolf on his hind legs. But when I zoom in, his paws look weird. Not his paws, but his arm looks weird. At least at this angle, I don't know. Maybe it's the cornfield itself, but it kind of looks like it has no skin on it. Am I right? That's what it looks like. No skin on it. Like it's just like the arm, like the bones. Like the anybody that knows the ulnus and the radial of the bones in the arm, the forearm, that's what it looks like. And it's really strange. But he said that that's what he captured. And I don't know. I wasn't there again. Did he actually capture the beast, or did he capture the wolf that was about to prance on top of its prey? Because I did read that that's what they do. When the wolves are attacking, they will get up on their hind legs and they basically prance over. I'm actually sending you guys this.
Is this it?
Yeah.
Can you guys see it?
Yep, that's it.
Rick.
I just sent it to you too.
Yeah.
I know. I see it.
You see it?
I'm finding it here on images.
Yeah, that's what I did. Exactly what I did.
And that's what they do is they get up on their hind legs before, and I know my dog does it when she goes to jump on her sister. She gets up on her hind legs, puts her arms up, and then pounces down. And that's kind of what this looks like. So is it actually the beast? I don't know. It's hard to say. But the other thing is I did find articles, and this was articles that were in a newspaper out Elkhorn area of two witnesses. And it's not their real names. They're fake names so that, they didn't want their actual names out there.
Is that Richard Bryan?
Yes. How'd you know?
Just a lucky guess.
You're so good. I swear, it's that ESP that you got going on there.
Or ESPN.
ESPN for you, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Barbara, and she's 26. She's a working mother. Not that kind of working, fellas. And then there's Pat, who is a high school student. So Barbara says, I was driving home one night on Bray Road. Again, Bray Road.
How recent is this?
This was back in the early 2000 time period. Late, around that same, the 90s, 2000 time period. Because I'm looking at another one. That one says 97, 98. But she says she's driving down at night on Bray Road, and there are no lights. I mean, there's a light pole on that corner area, but it's really dark in that area otherwise. And she says she saw a thing on the side of the road, and as she came up to it in her car, again, like you said, drive-bys, its back was to me, so I saw its ears and the whole bit. It was kneeling. Its elbows were up and its claws were facing out, so I knew it had claws. I remember the long claws, and it was eating roadkill or something. She wasn't sure. And as she drove by, she saw all of it. And then she says that it had glowing eyes. Well, if your headlights are on an animal, they look like they're glowing. So can't really put much into that. And said that it was reflecting from my headlights. It was right on Bray Road, right before the Bray farm on the curve. That's where she saw it. And it was brownish gray. He had big teeth and fangs, and it locked onto her as she was driving by. So he was looking right at her. And then he turns his head to look at her, and it was about the size of an average man. This one she's saying is kind of short, 5'7", maybe 150 pounds. Well, to me, that sounds like a wolf. If a wolf was to stand up, they're about 5 foot standing up, and they're
150 pounds. Oh, that's a big wolf.
Right. But it's not a coyote.
No.
Coyotes are smaller. It was holding a thing that it was eating palm up, and had the really long claws and pointed ears, and he had a big long nose and a long chin, like this on the picture. She drew like a picture of a werewolf. And the picture that she shows, I actually have a picture of it. And I'll post that later as well. She says that it was the knees were bent, and it was in the kneeling position like a human would do. And it was nighttime, and it was quite large, and she knows what she saw, and she says, don't mistake something like that. I don't take Bray Road in the dark anyway. So she's just like, I know that I sound crazy, but this is what I saw. I don't know. But then there's Pat, the high school student. And Pat it was October on Halloween. She was going down Bray Road, and it was kind of smoggy out. The front tire got lifted off the ground. He had hit something, or she had hit something. I don't know. It's Pat, so I don't know which one it goes. They hit something. So they kept going about 50, 60 feet right before Settlers Road. And then they got out of the car, and they're looking on the side to see what it was because they're thinking they hit a small animal. He hit a bird the same night, and so he's thinking I just killed another animal, or she was thinking that. There was nothing on the road, no blood or anything. I didn't see anybody. I felt like I hit it. It should have stayed there. I walked to the end of the car, and here comes this thing, and it just runs up at me. And I could see the chest of this thing, and it was big. It was hairy, and it was fast. And then they say, I get in the car, and by that time I got inside the car, the thing had grabbed hold of the car. I just put my foot on the gas pedal, and I started going. Maybe after I got going, I looked back, but at the time I was more interested in leaving. And the way it was running, you could suggest it was on two legs because I could see the chest so well that it was pulsating as it was coming towards me. It was hitting the ground hard, and I never seen a human run as fast as that. And my uncle was a track star. So they also said I probably would have been dinner that night. It was bigger than any dog I've ever seen. And we had a couple of Rottweilers, so they're used to big dogs. And we had one that was really big. And this thing was bigger than he was. And he had more hair, and it was brown. And I could see the hair, dark colored. It wasn't black, but long, straight hairs. Coyotes don't get that big because they've seen coyotes. They were suggesting that it was a bear at the house, but I told them that it wasn't that big. But it was bigger than any animal I've ever seen around here. When nails hit my car, they clapped their hands really forcefully or whatever, and they said it hit the car, top of the trunk, and then it slid off, and the fog made the car wet. But when they were going down and the car, they scratched it. This didn't look like a German Shepherd. I swear of that. I went to go pick up my mother's boyfriend's daughter, and on the way back, she saw it kneeling down eating or something. And she's 11, and I picked her up from trick-or-treating. It was about 9 p.m. So it's around the same time period as it is right now. So it gets dark earlier. So now at 9 o'clock, it's really dark. They're like, look at this thing. Yeah, look at it. I pressed on the gas, and they're trying to get the heck out of there. And there's no mistaking that it scared them. And it was a creature, and it tends to leave the mind wandering of what it was that they saw. So did both these people see the same thing? Because they're saying it was big, but not as big as a bear. Not as big as, or not as small as a coyote or a dog. It was like bigger in between them.
I don't know what they saw.
I don't know.
Or what they think they saw.
Right.
There's nothing around here that would resemble that.
No. And then how it like hit the car and then it scratched down the side.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I hit a raccoon and it moved my car. I thought for sure I ran it over. But it survived. And when I got, I pulled over right away. And I knew I hit a raccoon because I could see it was very distinct. But it still moved my car enough. And that thing was probably 40 pounds, 30 pounds. It was a big raccoon.
Yeah.
And
you know what, around, lately, the last few years, though, you just don't know what's around. I mean, a bear got killed right at the Hale interchange here 3-4 months ago.
Right.
We've had mountain lion sightings around here. You just don't know anymore, but that doesn't sound like anything. I thought maybe a wolverine, but wolverines don't get that big.
Right.
No, they're vicious, but they don't get that big.
We've got like safari type zoos, I guess you could call them, around here, out in that area.
Yeah.
But I don't think this was like one of the animals, because I know sometimes those animals get loose.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was one, because whenever they get loose, they usually let everybody know, yeah, we got it. It's back. We're good. And we're talking, they even have buffalo out there. When the one time they had buffalo going down Highway 50.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, there are other animals in the area from those things, but I don't think it was one of those that like broke out of there. And like you said, Brian, we've got animals more recently since like COVID hit that these animals have come out and come down our way. They're usually up north.
Yes.
But for some reason they felt comfortable enough because people weren't out on the roads, I guess.
Yes.
And they're like, okay, we're safe to come down here. We can start living here. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this thing is.
The hair is the fur is what got me. It's because there's nothing around here that has that.
Right.
Yeah. Huh.
Well, let's take a break. Let's ponder on this. And then we'll come back and we'll discuss this a little bit further.
All right.
Sound like a plan?
Deal.
All right. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.
Part 2.
Part 2. Hey, welcome back to another portion of this episode. We took a little break. We were talking about Bray Road and the beast that lives on Bray Road, or at least hunts on Bray Road. So we were talking about this. Scott and I were just talking on break. The guy that you guys saw at Paracon, he was a teacher at a university. He thought, is that you recall
I don't know
that?
if it's a university or high school. I don't remember. He was a teacher of some sort.
He was a teacher.
Yeah.
And he said that they come up to get hay on the farm. And he has students helping out and stuff like that. The farm itself, or where his property is on Town Line Road, but his property butts up to Bray Road. So that's a big.
Yeah, it's a big area.
Big area.
What he was saying, yeah. He said it isn't just his property either. He said it's that whole area right there that has all this activity. So, but I don't know.
And then Brian and I were just talking about that picture again, and how the arm looks, but again, I don't know if that's the arm or if that's the background of the farm. It's like the corn. The corn stalks, if it's that, like the arm, the right arm is back. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a grainy picture, but it looks like a wolf. Is it a skinwalker? I don't know.
Coyote's got a longer muzzle. It's not a coyote.
No, it's not a coyote.
It's not a coyote. I don't think it's a wolf, because wolf's faces are more streamlined. And round. This is more short and stocky.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it a hybrid?
Could
between them?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny because, I mean, it's not like he's not attacking people. The beast, I haven't seen any reports of it attacking people. I see it attacking like the livestock and stuff like that, but it's not harming the humans that I've seen. Unless, have you guys seen any? I know.
No, just people with sightings and then being creeped out or seeing something running away, or they just happen to catch it running in front of them or stuff like that. I don't know that I've seen anything where someone's physically attacked by it.
Yeah.
So
okay, you were talking about that he has pictures that the beast shows up, but it's not like a direct. You can definitely tell.
The only direct picture he had that I don't even know that he was that Scott saw the picture because it was one of the first pictures he showed.
He weighs high.
Hey, Scott. It's definitely. I don't know what can I'm trying to think what I could liken it to. It almost looks like someone on stilts and then leaning over or something. It's really a weird. It's like it has two legs and then I don't know. It was really weird looking. I wouldn't categorize that.
Have you seen Dark Crystal?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, exactly.
That's what he just said. It's like Dark Crystal.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that looked like a wolf or anything like that. It definitely was something weird that I don't know that I've ever seen before. And I mean, it was hard to tell by who knows what ain't. There's the beast right there.
There's your beast. Mine are upstairs.
Who knows what angle that picture was?
Right.
Any of that stuff. I mean, because maybe we were only seeing the back side of it. It was leaning forward, but the picture doesn't make it look that way. You know how sometimes a picture is distorted because you don't know what the perspective is. But it definitely wasn't a hairy. It didn't look like a hairy creature. If anything, it looked more like a bird or some type of thing like that.
Mm-hmm.
The pictures he had of the camera footage where you could see something blocking it out look like hair follicle. You look like hair, like if you took a camera and put it like right by your dog or something, but you didn't show your dog, you see you see the hair patterns, and you would see it from frame to frame move out or move back and then be gone.
Mm-hmm.
But it never went right in front of it, which right there, I mean, I don't know. It's like ghost. It's like the ghost picture that everybody posts. And oh man, look at this picture. Look at this ghost they caught. That's right in the center of the frame, and they just happen to have their camera out. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's odd that you have all these videos of something that just barely wants to show itself. Never shows the whole thing. You never see the whole thing. It's either too far away or out of focus or.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it just makes it makes you question it. Not that anything's faked, not that there's not really something going on, but from what I saw, I can't draw a conclusion from it. But other people are going, oh, yep, that's definitely it. Well, how can you say that? You can't. I cannot definitely say that that's what I'm seeing.
So are they saying? Was he saying, or at least implying? I guess the word would be that the beast. Because in the background, he would say that there's maybe UFO sighting in the background, that it's like alien.
Pods. They believe the term pods, alien craft and pods was mentioned numerous times.
Okay.
A landing pod, and he thinks one of the working theories is that that's when they show up, and that's why you can see footprints in the snow coming and going to nowhere. Is that they come down, they come out of these pods, and they go back in.
So he's saying that the beast possibly could be an alien that is in one of these pods.
Alien life form. Or
kind of coming down and scoping out the lay of the land.
Well, here's an interesting thought on it, and I don't know what I think about it. I started thinking about it a little bit watching Skinwalker Ranch, where they believe it's portals that are opening up. And it's just something from another opening and closing, and that they come and go.
Right.
And that's what you're seeing, and that's what you're catching. Same thing with the UFOs or spacecraft things. They're there and then they're gone. Well, maybe they're always there. It just so happens that at one point in time, the portal opens up and there they are, and then they're gone again.
Right.
Well, it's an interesting theory, but I'm not. I don't know enough about it to give a.
You're not sold.
Answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
did he say? Take on it.
Did he imply that maybe the beast had like a cloaking ability as well, or no?
I don't remember him saying that, but I don't remember him saying that.
Well, just because I know that they kind of compare the beast as part of Bigfoot, and I was watching an episode, I forgot where I was watching it, but the person was saying that Bigfoot, and I don't know how they come up with this theory, that the infant or the juvenile Bigfoots, they have to go through this training. Again, I don't know how they came up with this, but the juvenile Bigfoot goes through this training, and part of this training is that it has to do a cloaking of itself in front of
like a Hogwarts for Bigfoot.
Yes.
So they have a professor.
Yeah. And I was like,
Professor Bigfoot somewhere.
Yeah, I think I even said it out loud as I was watching it. And I'm like, how did you come up with this? Did they leave their manual laying around somewhere? How did you find out that this thing has to do this cloaking thing for it to be initiated into the tribe of these Bigfoots?
I have an idea.
Bigfoots. But
It has a lot to do with this.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I've never. That's just kind of way out there for me.
Yeah,
Like
and
you said, how do you find that out? How do you know?
That's what I want to know. I'm like, I sat there and I'm like, I paused the thing because it was a recording, and I paused it. I'm sitting there going, how in the world did you come up with this? Who told you this? Where did this actually? I don't understand this. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe this is with the same thing with the Beast, that he has this cloaking thing, and that's why he's not being seen by most people, because he has to do this initiation.
We'll have to ask Debbie about that. She's the Sasquatch expert.
That's right.
Yeah. We'll have to ask Deb about that, get her opinion on
but
the...
this is the first time that I've ever heard this about, and I know we're not talking about Bigfoot, but it was just like the first time that I heard this, and then I thought about, the other thing that I'd seen was that they were talking that the Beast of Bray Road is the Bigfoot creature that, that it's attached to the Bigfoot family, but for the Midwest.
Because he has hair? Was that why? I mean, I don't know. I mean,
he doesn't really have big feet.
I don't know.
At least not like a Bigfoot, but I mean, we're supposed to have those around here too, but I don't know. Not in our area, a little bit farther north of us, but still, I
think everything could be explained with this somehow. It's got to be either a combination of an animal that we know and just the mass hysteria of everybody thinking it's something else, and then everybody has that in the back of their head already that this is in that area, so it's got to be something. It can't be the obvious. It's got to be something else. And I don't know. I would love to spend some time out there. Obviously, the guy says he charges now, which sucks. But I mean, we're a paranormal team.
Right.
I mean, we're not a cryptid team, but I think that with everything else they say they have going on out there, I would be more than happy to go out there and spend a night.
Right.
Wandering around.
Well, paranormal is just the umbrella name. So, I mean, and we've talked about this, about even, looking into different cryptids and starting to investigate that as well. And I know that Rob had talked to, and I don't know if this is the same guy. I'm assuming it's the same guy.
I think it is, because I think he's the guy that wrote the book, so I think it's him.
It's the Paracon. I talked to Amy about it. She said it's not
the
same guy.
Well,
it's not the same. Amy said it's not. That's what she told Scott. So this must be somebody else. So we'll have to talk to Amy and Rob and figure out who their contact person is and see if we can go. Because I know that person had.
Yeah, they had land out there too, and that's why they said come out. We could come out and.
And that person had lots of evidence.
Interesting.
So yeah, we'll have to.
I believe there's something going on there. I don't know what it is, but I mean.
Can we not do it when it's super cold though?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not doing it in cold.
No.
No. We had that experience once.
Yeah. I mean, today it's 70, but they're talking snow and stuff like that. And I am not that. I can deal with cold, but at least at the place that it was really cold, there was 4 walls around us that blocked the wind and all that. And I guess I'm saying I'm a big baby when it comes to that outdoor stuff. I'm an outdoor kind of girl, but that's a lot of hours out there, and I'm not one of those hunters either. So I don't sit in one of those. What are those things? I don't even know what they're called. Blinds.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't.
Yeah, I'm getting too old for that. I can't do
that
anymore. I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
Never did it. Don't want to do it.
I mean, I can handle a little bit of this and that, but what we went through that night.
That was rough. That was really rough. And I was looking for.
And I think it's because we had a different expectation. We expected there to be some heat, and I truly believe that had we had that kerosene heater going,
would have been all right.
We would have been fine.
Because we would have at least had a warm place to be. The problem was our warm place to be was 40 degrees.
Right.
And that wasn't. That you can't do that.
No.
I'm sorry. It just wasn't.
You just after a few hours you can't even think anymore. And
No,
if we're going to do something like this and stand outside, I'd want to have my thinking cap on just a little bit tighter than what it
Do it in the
is.
middle of July.
Yeah, where I'm not shivering it off.
we should probably check into it anyway to see what. I mean, I'd want to do it because
Well,
I mean, it's very interesting. The things, like I said, the things he had to say sucked me right in like a tractor beam, and I was stuck. I was
go up in one of those
mesmerized.
pods.
I was mesmerized because there was a lot of information. It was information overload, but it was stuff that I had never heard before. You know, I only heard the usual things that you see on TV or whatever. This is coming from the guy that's right there at ground zero and had people out there and have all this. I mean, supposedly, like I said, picture after picture after picture, stuff they weren't showing us and stuff that they weren't going to show us. You know, and he kept referencing Travel Channel or somebody Discovery Channel that he had wanting to do a show or something. And so, I mean, I don't know.
Well, if you're saying that it's kind of like the Skinwalker Ranch of the Midwest, I mean,
after watching that show too, I mean, a lot of the stuff that they were talking about, that's the first thing that came to my mind when they're talking about alien spacecraft and other things going on there, you know, cattle mutilation or animal, you know, whatever, you know, the deers or whatever it may be, not necessarily cattle. I don't remember them actually calling out cattle as being part of it, but, you know, it's interesting because I watched the first season of that, and it does have the same type of feel of what they were showing and talking about.
Right.
I just wish there would have been a little bit more evidence that was more conclusive. You know, like I said, everything was just out of sight type thing, you know, and it's just enough to keep you interested, but just enough for a person like me to go, well, it could be anything. Right. You know, it's interesting all the facts you have and everything you're saying, but I can still come up with things that I think it could be. And then if I say, well, it could be a bear. Nope, there's no way it can be because of this. Well, okay, but why do you think? Why are you're saying that? Why? You know, because you live there and you know for a fact you saw this and that. Well, then say that or let me see that. If not, then that's all you got to go by. Then that's all I got to go by. And I can't, you know, well, there's no way that anybody could get in there. No, there's no way, you know, ask these guys here. There's no access. You can't get to it. It's so thick of brush. You can't get back there. Okay. Well, let me try. And if I can get back there, then it's possible.
Right.
Might not be easy, but if anybody can possibly get back there.
And it's just like when we go to do an investigation, we're going to go through and try to debunk whatever you're telling us.
I don't know.
To see if we can recreate whatever it is that you're experiencing. And if we can't, we've tried every which way we could, and we still can't recreate it, then we kind of question going, well, maybe there is something paranormal going on here because we've tried everything scientifically possible to, in our means that we could, you know, try to do this. Somebody else might have a different way and they can recreate it. But up to that point, you know, we got to say it's paranormal. Same with this is that we would go in and I want to try to do what they did.
Like I want to see where that camera's at. Is that camera 15 feet up in the air?
Right.
Well, then, okay, then there's a good question as to how could something be possibly standing there?
Right.
Or what else could it have been? Is it in the middle of nowhere and there's no tree branches or nothing anywhere near it? Then okay, then it's a little, you know. The other day at work, I've got these cameras at work, these security cameras that I can watch all the plants. So down in Georgia, I watch the Georgia plant all the time because there might be people from Georgia listening. I love everybody from every part of the country and world. One of the cameras, there was a big ass wasp that was on the camera, and you know, it was like huge. And it's like Godzilla. Okay. Well, now think about that for a minute. If someone didn't know and that thing moved out of the way and you just saw part of the wing or something,
you're going to question what the heck was that? Was that
dragon?
Yeah, a
could have been a caterpillar on that guy's screen, and it was a little furry and it looked like this. You know. Well, that's the other thing. Devil's advocate. Like, I mean, obviously everybody's going to tell me no, but I mean, could it be? Until I see it for myself. Or you like you say, you try to debunk it.
Right.
You know, if the thing's only 4 feet off the ground, well, God, it could have been anything walking by there. Could have been a deer. You just saw the tail of the deer, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like a shoulder or a head of something else. But if you don't see the whole thing, I don't know how you can come to a conclusion of that it's for sure something.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I just don't. I don't know how you can do that. I don't think you're doing anything justice by guessing what you think it is.
Well, you're not.
So.
You're really not. And I know Scott and I were talking to some guys at Paracon that use trail cams, and they swear by it. They made their point obvious that it's a good investment as far as, you know, the paranormal goes, because it goes off when something goes past it.
Then you know what you're looking for something at that point.
Right. Yeah. And he's like, you can go through 1,500 photos like nothing, and, you know, there's something that's setting it off. And then he's like, well, it can also do like the 5-second video, 10-second video, whatever it is.
Right.
So, you know, if we're gonna go out there, I want to get some trail cams, because I want to recreate whatever they're recreated or whatever they've created on their cameras. Can we do that? So if I don't have a trail cam, I can't go out there and go, well, your trail cam caught this. I can't recreate that because I don't have a trail cam. I don't know how they work, you know. So I think if we're going to go out there, I want to have as much as the same equipment as they do to recreate or try to recreate what they've experienced.
Trail cams, though, you can use, I mean, you can set them up for weeks, you know, for picture taking. You know, instead of one night, you can leave them up there for 2 weeks, 5 weeks, however long you wanted to.
Right.
So that would be, you know, that'd be kind of interesting to see what you get.
Well, even if we use trail cams during our normal investigations,
I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, especially when we're there for a couple of days, and just leave the trail cams up and let them do what they do, you know. So it's not like something that we couldn't use in another time period. But if we're going to go and check out and see if we can find the beast, I want to have everything I possibly could have in the arsenal that they had. And I think that's the only thing that we're really missing at this point that I know of is the trail cams. So
yeah, I'd like to get I've always wanted to get one.
And we've talked about it for a couple of years now. We just, I don't know why we just didn't get one, but we haven't added it to our arsenal yet. But I think, you know, if we put one out there, who knows what's going to go by it, you know? So I think that's what we're going to have to do, guys. We're going to have to go out to Elkhorn.
I think so.
I think it's going to be on the list for 2023.
All right.
Yeah.
It's right in our own backyard, so.
Yeah. Half an hour away.
Yep.
But I'd rather do it when it's still a little not too hot, because I don't want to deal with the mosquitoes, but not too cold. Somewhere in between. I don't know what that is. Because it's Wisconsin. We don't know what. It could be, you know, 80 in December around here and snowing in June. Who knows? But the other thing is, you know, can we find tracks? I'm not a tracker, but I mean, I can see tracks, and I know that it's an animal track. I can do that. Did he bring any
castings
of them?
He did not bring them. And I'm trying to remember if he showed any pictures or just said that he had them.
I don't remember. He had pictures. But he didn't bring them, really?
No, he did not bring anything like that.
I would have thought.
I think he'd bring them.
Yeah.
He didn't. And I'm trying to remember the picture part of it. I think he had showed some. And the other part of it was, I remember him saying something about the way the steps were. Looked like it was bipedal, you know, it was 2 feet.
Right.
Moving. It wasn't like it had 4 legs or something how it walked. So.
Yep.
Scott's agreeing with you right now.
I remember him saying that, and I remember him saying that when he showed that to DNR or somebody, they told him it was a coyote or a wolf or something like that, and he said, "Well, where are the other 2 feet then?" He said, "Because it doesn't make sense. It's not going to walk that way."
the toes or the paws were different.
Mm-hmm.
Normal paw, like an extra toe or something like that.
Right.
The span was really big too.
Yep.
I'm so glad I didn't have to repeat that. You guys heard him.
I heard him.
You know what? I wish I would have had a voice recorder with me to record that. Had I known better going into next year, or if I ever go to another one of those things, is bring a recorder or something to record stuff like that, because I'm trying to remember as much as I can off the top of my head. I kind of remember most of it, but some of it I don't remember. Like I said, it was information overload, because there was so much I was trying to take in and trying to process at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so.
Was he doing his talk in the same room as?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I took a picture.
Yeah, everyone I went to was in that same room.
Okay, I took a picture when we were there of the people that were talking.
Oh.
Maybe we can get him and then whoever Rob and Amy's contact is, and talk to both of them and compare notes, and maybe get them on the show. Just throwing that out there.
It's a good idea.
Don't plan on getting a word in. I'll tell you that, because he can talk.
Are you saying I'm going to meet my match on this?
He can talk.
Well, you guys tell me I can talk all the time too, and you can't get a word in. So
I don't know. I don't see another problem.
The team that was out there investigating, they got scared off. They didn't do a whole night.
What?
But they said, okay, I'll tell you that experience, because now I remember that part too. He said they ended their investigation early, but it wasn't because something scared them away. It's because Mother Nature told them they were done. They said that a fog rolled in so thick that they couldn't see in front of their faces, to the point where all of their equipment was getting wet. So they had to stop their investigation at a certain time, and they went back, packed up all their stuff, whatever, and as soon as they did that, the fog was gone. They said it was really weird, because the crew wasn't from around here. They were from California? They were from...
Oh, so they're not used to our weather.
Yeah, and they said that they never had experienced anything like that from wherever it was that they were from. They said it was the weirdest thing. And I do remember them talking about on one of their investigations that they had a flare, I believe it was, and they had split up at one point, and they had a heat signature that they were following of something that was standing, that looked like could be a person, was tall, and it happened to start following one of the people that was split from the group. When they split up, it was going that person's direction. So it was like almost like tracking that person.
But that person never saw or
didn't know what was happening, because apparently I think they said they tried to get a hold of them on the walkies or the phone or whatever they were trying to do, and couldn't reach them at that time.
This sounds like a Predator kind of episode there.
They said that's common out there, though, to have like things go, electronic stuff not work right, and the guy said that's common. He said I forget what he said. He's been through how many different appliances he was going. I think he named a bunch of things that he's had to replace that are things you shouldn't have to replace, as much as he had to out there. Besides, other interference when people are out there,
Well, did he say if his neighbors had the same problem?
I think he did, yeah. He said he's not the only one.
Huh.
Oh. Interesting.
Scott, were you in there when he was showing that one picture that looked like it was a car parked?
Yes.
Remember? And I'm telling you, he kept going, nope, not a car. It's impossible.
It looked like a Jeep.
Sure looked like a Jeep to me. And he kept saying, nope, that's not a Jeep. There's no way. Why would that be there? Why are the wheels glowing, he said.
Yeah.
And me and Scott are like, well, the sun's probably hitting them, and it's just a reflection. Yeah.
Right.
But the point is if me and Scott can say that within 5 seconds seeing the picture, why is this guy in denial that, well, how can that happen? Well,
he was denying that it was a vehicle.
You can't get one of those. You can't drive
it was
that back
one
there.
of those pods.
Yeah.
And
he
that
kept
you
saying
can't
it was
get
a
back
pod.
to that spot.
Oh yeah, you can't drive back to that spot. That's not my property. That's my neighbor's property, he said. But you can't drive a vehicle back there. Okay. How do I know that?
Yeah.
Because you said so?
Right. Well, how does he know that his neighbor can't
Hold
go
on. Beast of
back
Bray
there?
Road's at my house. Hold on.
Oh. It's all right. The beasts are running loose upstairs. So if you hear any like big pitter patter, that's them. That's interesting, though.
That was very interesting.
Especially if it's his neighbor's property. I mean, yeah, I know my neighbors. They're not that far away. I mean, we all have about a half an acre between us, but still, I know what my neighbor's property kind of looks like from a distance, but it looks completely different when I walk on it, and I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know that was there, and I didn't know that's what that looked like. And we're that much closer versus him and his neighbor. You know, it doesn't sound like they're that close to each other. It's
Interesting.
I don't know.
Very into this thing.
Very, very.
He's got some ley lines going through there or something.
Yeah. Well, we should look at that and see if there was any ley lines. I didn't even think about looking at the ley lines.
Yeah. Because he's got a multitude of stuff going on there.
Right.
What's that? What are you talking about?
I just said you should check to see if there's ley lines going through there.
Because, you know, they do have in this area, there's supposed to be across our whole area, like when I say our area, like Racine, Kenosha, Southeast Wisconsin area. And if you were to take us and go out from each coast, that's where they're supposed to have lots of paranormal things going on. Not to say that other areas don't have that either, but we have ley lines in our area, but I don't know where exactly they are.
Where do you even look for that? I don't even know where you would.
We might have to contact our librarian friend,
AKA Rebecca.
I thought she was going to join the team. She didn't join the team?
I have to talk to her again. I talked to her last week. No, the week before.
Yeah.
And she's interested. She's like,
I invited her to Baraboo.
She goes, well, I have to fill out an application.
No, you don't.
And I go, well, you'll have to do the interview, and Scott will have to fire you before you're hired.
Yeah, I think she's past the application part.
Yeah. I mean, we've done a couple things with her now, so.
I hope she goes to Baraboo. I wonder.
When is the Baraboo?
Next Saturday. And I found out something about that place. Did you know this, Brian? Because you've been talking to these people. Do you know who owns the Baraboo Inn?
Yogi and Boo Boo.
No.
That doesn't sound right.
The Food Channel.
Huh?
Really?
Yep.
The Food Channel.
The Food Channel. Yeah. They bought it from the owner who brought it back to life.
Yes.
So he retired in 2018, and they bought it from him. They have an office on the second floor, one of the apartments up there. But they still decided that they want to continue the paranormal events, and that they want teams to come in and investigate and all that stuff, even though they own the property now.
The guy had told me when I talked to him, 3 odd months ago, he told me it's one of the most haunted places in Wisconsin.
We all
know how that goes.
Yeah.
Right.
So is the convent. The convent's the
exactly.
Places you'll ever go to.
Now,
right.
Now I see the convent is on ghost hunts.
Yeah.
To go invest. I've been getting texts for that place now.
Yeah. They're now.
I want to hear what everybody else gets.
Yeah.
They're with Kindred Spirits too, because they have Adam going there now. He was supposed to
the
go
convent?
there in December. No, their asylum.
Yeah, I know he goes to the asylum.
Yeah.
I'd probably go do a tour. We should go as a group and do a tour next year just to do the walkthrough. Don't wear our shirts or nothing, because we don't need to advertise who we are to
just split off and
some of the people
go on our own.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get you on that one.
But I'd be interested just to see,
what's there.
What's there, if anything freaky. Everybody that seems to go, all you see is how, oh my God, it was the scariest place.
Yeah.
Why? Because you were walking around in the dark, or did something really happen?
Yeah.
Right. Right. Because it can be scary during the day too.
Sure.
It doesn't have to always be at nighttime, people.
Correct.
Scary during the day.
Yep.
To bring up, we only got a few more minutes left, but and I don't know where he disappeared to, but Scott had an experience the other day here in the house. Twice, actually. So you guys, okay, so we're recording this, but we were supposed to record this a little bit sooner in the week. But we had a windstorm come through our area, and it knocked out the power. Knocked out my house's power for over 30 hours. So, and of course, it happened over the weekend. It was a horrible weekend for us to begin with as a family. We had one of our loved ones passed away, and we had the funeral over the weekend. And so while we were at the funeral, the power went out. And we didn't know this until we got home, obviously. And so we were at home, and I think it was like the second night that we were home without power. And we were standing in the dining room area where we always have our meetings. And he's like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Well, there was some kids' voices." I'm like, "No, I didn't hear anything." The kids didn't hear anything. There's absolutely no power. There's nothing going on. All we had was a flashlight and some candles. That was the only power we had going on in this house. Dogs were sitting quietly. We're all sitting around the kitchen table. No sounds. So then Sunday night we go to bed, hoping and praying that our power is going to come back on. And while we're in bed, I was sound asleep. When I say sound asleep, yes, I was snoring like a chainsaw, apparently, allegedly. And from the corner area of our bedroom, Scott heard my voice. And he heard my voice say, "Scooter," because I call him Scooter. Now my nickname for him is out. They said, "Scooter, put that down or put that away." He's not sure which. And he looked over, and I'm sound asleep, snoring. So he knew it wasn't me. So I said, "See, the power goes on finally." And he wakes up, and I could tell he was freaked out. I'm like, "It's just the power back on. It's fine." And he's like, No. And he tells me the story. I'm like, "What do you want me to do? You want me to stage the house right now?" And he's like, "Yes." I go, "Right now, you want me to stage the house and cleanse it?" He goes, "Yes." I'm like, "I'm not doing it. Can wait." So, I don't know what's going on in my house, but apparently I got somebody that wants to communicate with my husband and sound like me.
Was it Scott's grandfather that died?
It was Scott's grandfather that passed away.
Did he call him Scooter?
No, he never called him Scooter. I'm the only one that calls him that. Not even his mom calls him that. Yeah, I'm the only one that does it.
Well, maybe a couple of us need to come over there and just hang out with you.
Maybe.
We don't need to do a full investigation, but maybe bring some cameras and some
that'd be cool to do. Recorders.
Just hang out in the dark and tell stories and talk and
see
if we get anything.
But until then, we have to wait. We have to say goodbye.
Okay.
It's that time.
All right.
Well, for our skeptics, continue to keep us grounded. And for our believers, keep believing. I'm Kathy, your host. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed listening to this episode. Please email us with your thoughts on this and any of our previous episodes. And if you have a topic you'd like us to talk about, email us at soupit@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to another episode of Wicked Darkness.